Lemonada.
Hey everyone, it's Nicole. I know Worth It, it's a fun show, and we like to talk about fun things to do to get out into the state, but I feel like we need to acknowledge the tragedy of what happened this weekend. We would like to send our deepest thoughts and our prayers to the Hortman and Hoffman families. I'm still in shock about how this could have happened. I know a lot of you are probably still in shock, but one positive is that I've been seeing so many people come together. I've been really impressed by the dedication of our staff, by the dedication of community members that are supporting people and showing compassion and grace in such a short period of time. It's been a tough week, but we will get through it. We will be able to stick together. You can follow our coverage at startribune.com. Let's just take care of each other. Welcome to Worth It from the Minnesota Star Tribune. I'm Nicole Norfleet.
And I'm Aaron Brown.
Each week on the show, we share the happenings around Minnesota that we think are worth your time, your attention, and your money. Clawcades had descended on Minnesota. We'll find out if they are worth the gamble. We'll hear about the hill that can change the course of Grandma's Marathon. And finally, we'll check out a cool map of LGBTQ plus history that's totally worth a look.
You know what else is cool? My new rain gauge.
Dude.
I got a rain gauge for Christmas, and this week I finally really got to use it because we had a lot of rain.
I am officially jealous. I
know.
What do you, but it's just, is it really just to be like, hey, Bob, you know, we got 3 inches last night. Like, what do you?
Well, before I used to say there was lots of rain. And now I get to say, in this instance, I had 6 inches of rain.
Dude, it was insane. It was like a monsoon for like 30
So that's
minutes.
a lot of rain, and this is where no one believed me, and I didn't believe myself. I thought I did it wrong.
You literally just have a thing that just collects water.
Yeah, I know. I must have put it in the wrong place or something, but I had not a neighbor, but she lives like 10 miles away, and she got a similar amount of rain. And so there was just a really localized section of heavy, heavy rain in this area where I live.
So are you on like a Facebook group where you guys are like, hey, what you got in your rain gauge?
No, I just put it on regular Facebook. And a lot of people from towns not so far away, maybe 20, 25 miles away, were like, yeah, I only got 2 inches. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I want this. I want this for myself.
Yeah,
I want to be able to argue with my neighbor across the way about how much rain they got.
Because you're a scientist. It's all you need is a rain gauge, and you're a scientist.
It's for science. Okay, let's get into the show. Aaron, have you ever tried your hand at a claw machine?
Have I ever tried? Excuse me. My early 20s was dominated by a particular claw machine at a laundromat near my first apartment. And I cleaned that sucker out on a regular basis.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm,
all right. So you were just there on a weekly basis? How often were we talking about?
Weekly. Yeah, every Sunday usually. 50 cents a shot. You got 2 tries per 50 cents. That was a different time.
What was in there?
Bears and critters and,
like
stuffed critters. Yeah. They weren't the kind you would give children because the children would... Surely hazard. These are off book. These are not government approved
Well,
toys.
I hope you kept at least one of your bears just as a memento.
Funny, I did. Pink Dog. Pink Dog became a central character in all the children's stories I would tell my boys when they were little.
Oh my goodness.
And so Pink Dog had adventures, and he was a claw bear. He was from a claw game.
Wow.
Yeah.
You made a whole personality, a whole world with this.
Yeah. I haven't, I have gotten out of the game. I've retired, but I felt like I left on the top.
Well, Japanese-style claw machines, a.k.a. clawcades, are taking hold in Minnesota. They're even shinier and brighter than the ones maybe you played, Aaron.
Sounds a little fancier. Yeah.
But are they more addictive? Our columnist, Laura Ewan, visited a clawcade and is here to tell us more. Hi, Laura.
Hey.
So you took your kids to a clawcade. Where did you go and what was it like?
Well, this place was called Duck. It's all capital letters, and it ends with an exclamation point, and it's in Eagan. It's just in this unassuming Eagan strip mall. And you go in, and it's bright, it's playful, it's cheerful even, and you just see row upon row of these claw machines. And you can get bubble tea. There's like lots of figurines for associated with the anime world. I mean,
Yeah.
and it was packed. I went a few months ago, and it was like on a weekday, and there were kids, teens, families, moms, dads, but even just like grown men with beards wearing camo. I mean, it was yeah. I mean, apparently it was very popular.
So claw machines aren't like a new concept. Like, what's different about these clawcades, I guess?
Well, I think what's different is that they just seem more inviting and maybe even more enticing. I mean, if you were to play one of these claw machines, kind of like the sad-looking single claw machine in the front of your grocery store, people might think you're not very intelligent,
You're like
right?
trying to get that little yo-yo or the whistle or something, or some bubble gum in there. I don't know what's in there, but it's been there for a while.
And unless you're Aaron Brown, you probably won't win. I mean, that's the thing.
Prolific.
Most people don't win. But anyway, I was walking around, and people are carrying these like plastic shopping baskets, and they were filled with stuffies.
Stuffies.
Yeah. So it was, it definitely seemed like a popular new trend.
Now, everyone's having a good time. Some people are winning. But in your column, you said you were worried that these clawcades might be addictive. I think you called it a casino for kids. What set off your mom radar, I guess?
Well, as parents do, you just start noticing your kid acting kind of strangely.
Describe strangely.
So, okay, I was just observing. I was just like silently observing. And my 12-year-old son is just entranced by one of these machines. And these are one of the higher end machines. Like, I think he had to pay, I don't know, $10 I don't know. Actually, I don't even want to say that because I don't want the duck owner to say, we don't have a game here.
So you don't know exactly how much money he put in this machine.
He was like, I've already played this 3 times. I've lost every time, but I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm going to win it. And he was just like insisting, and he had this crazed look in his eyes. And so I just sort of saw my 12-year-old son's life flash before my eyes. And so I just wanted to know, okay, what's going on here?
I mean, did he end up actually winning, or did he have to stop before? Like what was the cutoff
We
point?
had an intervention. No. No, I mean, he did win. And so that was nice to see after, $70, I'm guessing.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, wow. And you talked with a professional about the addictive nature of these games. What did you find out?
Yeah, so I reached out to Dr. Joseph Lee. He's the president and CEO of Hazel and Betty Ford Foundation. And he did say, well, he said, first of all, this is not worth worrying extensively about. It's not a public health crisis.
Yeah, right.
But he definitely said there are common mechanisms among these games that do make them habit forming. And so they dole out what's known in the psychology world as intermittent rewards. It's that unpredictability of the rewards that make it so addictive, because the unpredictability is what produces surges of dopamine, more so than predictable rewards.
So it's kind of like, okay, I didn't make it this time, but I could possibly, and all of a sudden I get one. I'm like,
Yes.
wait, I can still possibly win all this stuff. Because I think you take the stuffies up and you can exchange it for bigger stuffies.
Exactly.
Right?
You sound like you've been to one of these.
So, okay, guys, I have something to show you. I wanted to save it for later, but you are correct.
Oh my goodness!
You are correct. So, what
it's
I'm
not our
showing,
first rodeo.
Nicole is opening a plastic bag with a bear. What is that? Bear?
It's like a bear wearing a bear.
A bear wearing
suit.
a costume.
So what happened was, okay, I helped teach this class of teenagers, right? And they were like, I was asking them, hey, do you go to these clawcades? And they were like, yeah, Miss Nicole, yeah. I was like, okay, do you think I should go? I was thinking about talking about it on the podcast. And they're like, yeah, maybe you'll do, okay. And I was like, is that a challenge?
It is a challenge.
Sounds like a challenge. Yeah, they didn't have faith in you.
So I had $20 in 20 minutes, and I ran up to Clawland over in Maplewood, and literally my first try, I got this, baby.
It's a bear dressed as a bee.
Or is it a bee? Which one is it?
It's a bear dressed as a bee.
It's a bear dressed as a bee.
Oh.
I couldn't stop. It was so rewarding because I don't know. I don't think I'm never ever good at these games. Like I go to the carnival and you get to throw things or darts.
See,
Or
I'm seeing in your eyes,
lose.
Nicole. I'm seeing what I think Laura saw in her son right now.
It was like one of the best pick me ups before I had to come to work that I've ever done because it was like, I'm a winner. And I didn't even use all my tokens. I had to I was debating if I could be a little bit late for work so I could use the rest of my tokens. But I was like, okay,
go back.
I could go back. It was close to my mother-in-law's house. So anyway, there was even another person there who was cheering me on, and it was she was helping me with strategy.
She worked there?
No, the woman that worked there did offer.
That's a heck of a scam.
The woman that worked there did offer to fluff it. Which I wanted you to get it fluffed.
The animals?
the stuffies. Okay. Yeah. And but I didn't
to make them more available, that kind of thing?
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so before I headed out, one of my other mom friends, she said, just wait, there's going to be these roving staffers who are walking around. Just wait for them to fluff up the machines.
Yes.
And what they do is they just reach their hands in and they just kind of plump up, the stuffed animals.
Nice.
And then they sort of position them so that the claw can better grip.
Okay, so as a parent, what's your verdict on these? Are these new Clawcades worth a visit? Is there, I don't know, are you teaching them bad habits?
No, I would never go that far. I mean, I hate to sound like a fuddy-duddy it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't fun for me, but it was fun for my kids.
I mean, you were $100 lighter, it sounds like.
My brother was visiting, so he was the one loading them up all the time.
Uncle,
so, yeah, go with your rich
big
uncle.
Pockets.
And then go on a rainy day, and if you're cool, shelling out some of that money. But just be warned, you might see some different sides of your kid. I can't unsee my child's crazed look anymore. In his eyes, exactly.
Well, thanks for taking the gamble, Laura. This was great.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
Laura.
For having me. Good luck at the Clawcade.
You want to come with me? I got some more coins.
It seems like you know the winning formula, so I think I should go with you.
Stay with us to hear about the upcoming Grandma's Marathon in Duluth.
If you like Worth It, you should know it's just a tiny taste of all that the Minnesota Star Tribune has to offer. We've got an all-access pass to everything Minnesota, from outdoor adventures to the hottest food spots you've never heard of. From puzzles and games to the best concerts and happenings around the state. It's all here all the time. So subscribe to the Minnesota Star Tribune. It's a great deal. Go to startribune.com/worthit to subscribe. That's worth it to subscribe, all one word.
Hey, everyone. In keeping true to our title, we want to introduce you to a new podcast we think is worth checking out. It's called What We Spend. Each episode profiles one person as they open up their wallets and document their lives for 1 week to capture all the ways money factors into it. People from across the financial spectrum share the ways they make money, spend money, and all the thoughts and emotions they have along the way. The conversations on What We Spend are intimate, fun, sometimes emotional, and always real. It's a fascinating look at the ways money comes into our lives and then leaves again. Listen to What We Spend, an Odyssey original podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
It's not summer in Duluth without Grandma's Marathon, and it's happening this Saturday. As races go, Grandma's is relatively flat, but there's a hill that all runners worth their laces know, and perhaps dread. Our Duluth reporter, Krista Lawler, conquered this hill. Welcome, Krista.
Hi. I don't know if conquer is the right word.
Are you alive? Did you do it, and are you alive?
I did it, and I'm alive, and I'm here.
Then you win.
You won. Krista, 1, hill 0.
Yep, exactly. So to start us off, a lot of Minnesotans have heard of Grandma's Marathon, but what's the big deal about Grandma's Marathon?
Well, first off, it's gorgeous. It hugs the shore of Lake Superior, and it starts at sunrise. So you're getting this just iconic view of the city as it kind of comes alive in the morning. And I mean, it's just gorgeous. Every step of the way, you're seeing Lake Superior.
And it's like a festival environment because it draws a lot of spectators. It's a big community event as well.
For sure. I was thinking about this. I've done the half marathon about a half dozen times. And there's just these places along the route where it is so fun. I remember smelling bacon just beyond the Lakeside neighborhood. There's a guy who has like a grill out there. There's good music.
That must be hard to have to run by bacon.
I was going to say, do they do it like the little cups of water where they've got like bacon out on the table for the runners?
Take a shot of bacon.
So bacon's not something I would eat on a race course. So I don't know exactly what how they get it to you, but it smells amazing.
If you're one of the roughly 17,000 runners in this year's races, you might know about Lemon Drop Hill. If you're sitting it out like myself, which I really only do to give other people a chance.
I only run to things or from things that are dangerous.
What's the story behind this Lemon Drop Hill?
The course is mostly flat, and then there is this one part just beyond Glen Sheen Mansion at about mile 22 where there is an incline. And there used to be a restaurant there called the Lemon Drop Restaurant. And then when I-35 was expanded, it was torn down. But it's this very quick hit, sudden incline. It kind of does a little bit of an M shape. And then most of the rest of the way is kind of cruising down into Canal Park.
Why? Why would they do that to you guys?
It's mile 22, so 4 more after that. So just enough to wipe you out before you go on your final stretch.
And so, Krista, you actually ran this? I mean, I know you said you did a half marathon, but is that part of the half marathon?
Yeah, it's the same course.
Okay.
Yeah, so yesterday, just so I could better describe it in my story, I parked kind of near there and didn't do the first 22 miles, but I did do, I started right at the bottom of it and timed myself running up it. And I'm coming off a bad back and...
Oh, no.
Insert 20 excuses here.
Qualifications, yes.
Were you limping after that? Were you limping after that? Are you okay? Should we send ice pack?
It was so hot, too. Of course, anything over 60 is hot in Duluth. But having done it like in a race environment, this is where a lot of people gather. So this is where you will get the most encouragement along the race route.
When you say a lot of people gather, like just to cheer you on like you can do it.
Exactly.
Right?
There's tons of people at this spot making sure that you're able to get up the hill.
Well, Krista, thank you for crossing the finish line with us and also for your bravery in taking on the hill.
Thank you for your service.
Happy marathon weekend.
Thank you for letting me brag about it.
So I think everyone has seen an e-bike before. This is normally that time of year where these bright green bikes are littered throughout the cities. It used to be Nice Ride, and now they have Lime rental bikes as well. Do they have e-bikes up in Hibbing, Aaron?
You see them, absolutely. They're actually pretty popular ways for people to get around. Maybe people who have either can't or are legally barred from driving vehicles. They love these things because you can put a nice brick of MGD light on your shoulder and right down the road, man. It's pretty cool. You see them a lot. In Duluth, they're popular because of the hills.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they're
Need
people
an extra
use them
push.
to get around.
Well, I know that's a great solution for a lot of people, urban and rural, to be able to get around. We have outdoors reporter Bob Timmons here. He's been watching the rise of e-bikes for years. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Nicole. Hey, Aaron.
So I know that a lot of people like e-bikes because it's green. You can get around faster, obviously. If maybe you're not as athletically inclined, you can get a little extra boost when you're going up the hill. What are some other reasons why e-bikes are pretty popular now?
The technology has changed in the market. There's more models out there that have been refined that are less expensive.
Okay.
It would be easy by default a few years back to think like, I could never get in, just from a monetary standpoint, I could never get into e-bikes. Aren't they all $4,000?
Yeah, that's what I thought, like $4,000, $5,000.
Yeah.
At that point, I might as well throw in a few extra thousand and get a car, I think,
Yeah, and so suddenly they're more accessible, and the technology is better.
What's the average cost of an e-bike now?
I can only really say the ones that are most popular and maybe most used are probably in that like 2, 3, up to 4, but 4 is starting to get sort of high end. But you can get a decent e-bike for $1,500.
Aaron, are you seeing people out mostly in this on streets or on trails? What are you seeing where you're at?
I certainly see them in both places, and you see them a lot more in like the small towns where I live around. You know, think about the layout of any town. It's probably 2-3 miles from one end to the other, and a lot of times the grocery stores and the stores are out on the highway, so you end up going a mile or 2 or 3. Well, that's a great mode of transportation, especially for people who don't have cars or can't use them. A lot of the trails, the recreational trails, were built for pedal bikes, and things like dirt trails, I know they get tore up, don't they?
Yeah, this technically illegal class, they're sold as electric bikes, but they really mimic dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. And they're heavier, and they have speeds that exceed what is regarded as a legal e-bike. And they are, Aaron, like you're saying, they're popping up in places where they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be on the Mesabi Trail, right? Buzzing somebody at 30 miles an hour, or, people out for their daily walk with their dog and maybe their children. Again, it speaks to the sort of messiness. I don't know that many people can identify what they've just seen. So
what was that?
Everybody, all e-bikers are being lumped into one community. And yet there's this sort of roguish element that doesn't have a place to go. They can't be on dirt.
They don't fit in dirt.
They can't be on paved trails, which abide by the 3 classes of e-bikes. So it's
obviously not on sidewalks and anything like that. So they're in the bike lanes.
Are people working on these regulatory side?
From everyone I've talked to, no. The state trail manager at the DNR said there's no documented data that supports that it's a problem, his words, that it's a problem on the trail. But he said, we do get complaints about the speed and size of the bikes and somebody getting buzzed and that kind of thing. And the only enforcement is really going to be a conservation officer, a DNR equivalent of the game wardens of yesteryear, COs or local authorities. They're left to enforce.
Now, Bob, I know that you wrote about the rebates for e-bikes. They sold out within a few minutes last year for the rebate program. Do we think that there will be a lot of people trying to get into the rebate program this year, or what's the sense you're getting?
So it's a 2-year program, $2 million last year to give out e-bike rebates. $2 million more this year. Last year's system run by the Department of Revenue, there was such interest, first come, first serve, that it crashed their system within an hour, I think it was, that morning. So there was such a volume of interest. And it took weeks for them to go back online. The feedback from all of that prompted legislation this session. Looks like they're going to tweak the rebate program. It's still the same amount of money, still run by the Department of Revenue, but they're going to have it on a lottery basis, really geared toward lower income families to pursue. So it would wipe out the high earners who were...
But probably that can already afford these, let's just be honest. They can probably already afford these.
Exactly.
I was curious, don't you bike as well? Or have you...
Yeah.
Do you have an e-bike? Or
No. Nope.
You're traditional?
Yep.
I've only used e-bikes in dire situations. One time I got into an argument with my wife and I tried to stomp off, and I realized I didn't have anything to stomp off on, and I had to use an e-bike. But the issue is that I had to log on to try to do it. It took me a while. The effect of it didn't really work. I wouldn't suggest that to anybody.
Don't e-bike mad.
And also do not e-bike drunk, which is actually illegal. You can get a ticket for that. Any other resources for people if they're interested in e-bikes, or places that they could shop for them, or ways they can learn more about this?
Don't go on the web.
What? What?
No, okay. In the context of buying an e-bike.
Oh, okay.
No, but some of the information is hard to come by. You have people who think they're purchasing something legal who aren't. There's probably many examples of that. I would say, I think about all these advocates like the American League of Cyclists and People for Bikes. Those are great resources for information, even down to American League of Cyclists, for example, has a great video series about e-bikes, short videos from everything from buying a bike, what is an e-bike, how is one different to the next, to how to safely ride them. I would go to places like that, or really when it comes to buying, is just a reputable bike shop
like Eric's or something, or even I think Best Buy even has it where you can go in there now and try out a few e-bikes, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Beck. I hope we'll see you on the trails sometime this summer. I will maybe not be on an e-bike, but I'll shout on the left. Okay, you'll be able to see me, hear me.
Don't text me while you're riding.
Okay.
Hey, Bob, maybe I'll see you out here. No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, it's Pride Month, and one of our reporters discovered a very cool Pride history map of Minnesota. Stick around.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you are stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. June is Men's Mental Health Month, and my guy, it's time to talk. Men today face immense pressure to perform, to provide, to keep everything together. So it's no wonder that 6 million men in the U.S. suffer from depression every year. Men are also less likely to seek therapy than women, which means depression among men often goes underdiagnosed. If you're a man and you're feeling the weight of the world, the strongest thing you can do is ask for help. Talk to someone, anyone, a therapist, a friend, a loved one, because real strength comes from being honest about what you're carrying and doing something about it. Therapy can help you find your way, and BetterHelp makes it easy to start. Take a short online quiz and connect with a qualified therapist from the privacy of home. Every man deserves better. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
June is Pride Month, and if you're interested in a little Pride history, our reporter, Alicia Eller, recently found a little corner of the internet that might be worth a look. They wrote a story about it that comes out today. Hey, Alicia.
Hey.
What did you find out?
So I discovered this map. It's called Greater Minnesota Two Spirit and LGBTQIA+ history map. So much of queer history is focused on urban centers, and a couple of years ago we had the 50th anniversary of Pride in the Twin Cities, and this public historian who works at the History Center and is also the editor of MNOpedia, Lizzie Ehrenhardt, she sort of started doing something in her free time, noticing sort of snippets about queer histories outside of the Twin Cities in greater Minnesota, rural Minnesota, and just sort of started plopping them out on a map. And she's not from here. She's not from Minnesota. But so she was really curious about what's the history of this place? What's the queer and trans history of this place? And it's something that started as sort of a humble side project, as she calls it, turned into a broader project that has over 140 entries, spans from the 1790s to the present day, touches all corners of the state. It's amazing, and it's online.
I love the map because as a historian myself, who's covered the early 1900s mostly, I was amazed at how there were all these overlapping figures and stories that traditional history doesn't include. I was fascinated to see the female impersonator show in Virginia on the Iron Range, the logging camp stories of individuals who were LGBTQ. And so just the amount of work that went into it is really impressive.
Yeah, it is. And as you said, it's like snippets or tidbits or just like a found photo, but not too much more information. Like, here is, I'm just clicking on a random point on the map, male impersonator in Windham, 1896. Pretty much it's just an advertisement for a performance by actress and male impersonator Franceli Caden at the Women's Christian Temperance Union Temple in Windham, and that's it. And so, I think a lot of what the map is pointing to is there are these sort of hidden queer histories, but before there was any sort of like visibility, recognition, definitions.
Yeah. What I thought was really fascinating about this is because I think I had like a stereotype, especially as somebody that's mostly lived in urban centers that like once you get out of the urban centers, maybe we need to be careful a little bit, you know? And as someone in the community, I just thought this was really like eye-opening and just it kind of warmed my heart that I saw these different examples of people that were living their lives and actually maybe because they were a little isolated, either because of their jobs or maybe they're out in nature and they're a little bit remote, that they were able to really explore and feel like they can be themselves and kind of like just like the communities that kind of grew from that.
Most of the things on the map are just people living their lives. That's
Right.
That's the big takeaway that I had. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, because there's so many of these, just like a newspaper snippet of a picture of someone maybe in drag or maybe just cross-dressing for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some stories that are like fascinating, that there's a little bit more.
What was a story that stuck out to you?
The story that stuck out to me was Brunel and Larrabee's escapes in the 1940s. And it was about this woman, Ojibwe woman Beulah Brunel, and Edna, this white lady, Edna Larrabee. And they both ended up in the Shakopee State Reformatory for Women multiple times in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
They were both convicted of grand larceny. They met there. Basically, they escaped together 4 times.
Wow.
They were like
the couple
on the
that
run.
escapes together stays together, right?
Pretty well, yeah. I mean, then at one point they were separated, and then they were paroled separately. Larrabee moved to Seattle, and Brunel married and settled in St. Paul. But that only lasted a year because then Brunel left her husband in 1953 and trekked to Seattle and reunited with Larrabee. So
That's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
love story. I love that.
That's
I love
greenlight that for Netflix. That's awesome.
I know, right? And that was the photo in here is from the Minneapolis Star. So it's from our very paper.
Our very paper. Our
Yeah.
very paper.
So that was, and you know, part of their thing, they posed as a man and a wife when they were on the run one of the times. Yeah, and they did end up together.
Little windows into the lives of so many people. Little vignettes.
Far from urban centers.
Far
So
from urban centers. We exist everywhere. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. and the map continues. Like they have like 160 new entries that they may
Oh, cool.
be able to post. So they're like reviewing them and vetting them, but it's sort of a living, breathing thing too.
Well, let's link to your story and the map in the show notes. We'll get to see it there. And thanks for this great find, Alicia. This is really cool. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Definitely. Thanks for having me back.
Happy Pride.
All right. Happy Pride.
Okay, before we go, let's do the Minnesota goodbye. Aaron, tell me about a very Minnesota moment from your week.
It's this time of year, all the animals are awake and active. And there's this time of day, dusk, early evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear, driving home is like a video game. And it's deer, of course, the ever-present deer jumping out, but also birds and smaller animals running out
Reptiles.
from turtles.
Yeah.
There's turtles too.
Yeah.
And you have this now moral obligation to stop and help the turtles.
You have to help the turtles. That's how you get good luck in your next life.
So it's different. It's all the animals they don't recognize the human roadways. And
Have you hit something recently, or you've been good? How's it been?
my wife and I recently had an event that,
no.
well, it's a disagreement between the two of us. I maintain, and I think the turtle was already dead.
No, not the turtle. I just told you that's good luck.
I saw it coming, and I was like, I gotta avoid it. She thinks I was trying not to avoid it, but I said no, I was trying to avoid it. But as I got closer to it, I think this turtle was already no longer with us.
Okay.
But yeah, we had
poor baby.
we do try to stop and help the turtles and care for the turtles.
Yeah.
They're very important. And they're they're just trying to do their thing. They don't have the capacity for speed that our vehicles do.
Yeah, stop for the turtles, everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, just stop
Bring
for the turtles.
Bring them the direction they're headed. Don't put them back where they're from because they'll just cross again. And bring them
Who
to
does that? Who put them back?
Well, because it's closer. People think,
Oh,
it's
sure.
closer. I'll just bring it back here. Go
No,
back
the
this
whole-
way, little turtle. But they don't think that way. Turtles have a reason for going where
They're
going.
They got
They're
places
just like
to go.
you do. They got their MapQuest is locked in. They're going.
talking about places to go. So as a Minnesotan, it's very hard to say no, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like you cannot
The
say no
hardest
to
thing.
things. So they had asked me to help with the intern thing at the Mall of America today. And I really wanted to go. But unfortunately, my wife has an oral surgery.
Ooh.
And me being an idiot, I thought maybe I could still go. So I asked her, I was like, so if I take you there and do this and do that.
Oh,
and
no.
And she literally looked at me and told me that she was going to take me off of her emergency contact.
Oh, no.
Because she's supposed to be like sedated, heavily sedated.
Well, yeah, it's like...
And I'm like thinking like, okay, maybe if I can get her rushed back from the clinic, drop her off with our child, by the way.
Yeah.
Put her up against the wall or something like that. Run to the Mall of America, change in the bathroom or something, that I'll be able to make this thing. And then
she's on the drugs. She'll just take her for a ride.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Everything will be fine. And then she just like looked at me. It just took like a look, and I was just like, I'm an idiot. Why don't I just say no? Why can't we just say no?
Yeah.
So I had to tell them no, and I was very apologetic about it. But it was, I'm not even supposed to be working on Fridays, so it's not a big deal. But like why do we do that to ourselves? We
want to
make
be helpful.
everything
We want to
work.
make a good community. We try to be helpful. Yeah. It reminds me of when I got my wisdom teeth out, my wife and I went to a movie after, Erin Brockovich. And
saw Julia Roberts right after that?
So listen. I came out of that movie and I told my wife, that was the greatest movie I ever saw in my life. But I was so up on the drugs that I refused to watch the movie again because there's no way it was that good.
It could never be. It could never top that.
It was the best movie I had ever seen in my life. And I think it was because of the drugs.
Wait, were you just like, was your face like a chipmunk right there? I don't understand how you just...
a little puffy. And I had a soda and I was watching this movie with wide eyes. I don't know. It's dry socket. I don't know. Something bad like that. But anyway, it's you could have put her in the corner. She'd have been fine.
Well, don't worry.
She'd have had a great time,
I'll
actually.
I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you.
Right. But it's probably good that you stay. It's good that you honored her wishes. That's good, though.
I stay married. That's great.
That's the game. That's the whole game right there. Anyway, that's all for this week. We'll be back next Friday.
See ya. Worth It is a co-production of the Minnesota Star Tribune and Lemonada Media. It's hosted by me, Nicole Norfleet, and Aaron Brown. The production team includes Melissa Townsend, Chrissy Pease, and Tiffany Bowie, with help from Zoe Jackson and Casey Darnell. This series is mixed by Johnny Vince Evans with technical help from Matt Gilmer. Our theme was composed by Dan Malad. Lemonada's Senior Vice President of Weekly Content and Production is Steve Nelson, and the Star Tribune's Director of Audio and Video Initiatives is Jenny Pinkley. Executive producers are Stephanie Whittles-Wax and Jessica Cordova-Kramer. Help others find our show by leaving us a rating and writing a review. Follow Worth It wherever you get your podcasts or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next week. Bye.